All right, cool. So let's start mapping some products. Um, these are products that I recently updated and put into Amazon. I want to show you how I actually go about mapping those products. So I'm going to view these unmapped products. Up here, you'll always see if you don't have something that's mapped, you can just click that and it'll say view unmapped products. And like I said before, you are going to find that it's generally 57 products is generally kind of like the, how do I want to say it? It's 57 products is generally the uh, when we're at zero as far as basically that's kind of the default. In fact, I might just put these into like some test vendor or something like that and get rid of them. But these are all FBA stuff. Okay, that being said, let's go all the way to the very bottom, scroll all the way down, and let's add this Ray Marine um, transducer thing. So I'm going to click right here into the merchant SKU. These are all the merchant SKUs. Remember we said there are two types of SKUs when it comes to this whole thing. Okay, the SKUs are the merchant SKUs and the product SKUs. Okay, merchant SKUs. Sorry, not product SKUs. The merchant SKUs and the vendor SKUs. Merchant SKUs and vendor SKUs. Merchant SKUs or product SKUs are the ones that are on Amazon. And so Spark Shipping sees that as the ones that are in our listings on Amazon. The vendor SKUs are what Spark Shipping uses to fire off emails to the vendor, letting them know that this particular product was ordered. Okay, so you'll see right here, this merchant SKU that we have for Ray Marine right here is going to be different than the vendor SKU that we have. Okay, it's going to be different than the vendor SKU. So let me click here. I'm going to click, and it's going to pull up this right here. Up here, it'll say Ray Marine A77, blah, blah, blah. It'll give the actual title up here. Okay. Here, you're going to see right here, it says product on Amazon. You can actually click here and it'll go to the product on Amazon. It'll give the stock quantity total, stock quantity total, which is how much stuff that we actually have, and then quantity and shopping cart is what's on Amazon. Okay, when it was last updated and what its weight is. Okay. I just put it at 0. I really don't care. So all that being said, you're going to see right here, it says default vendor. Okay, we need to map this to CY distributors. In fact, let me go grab the merchant SKU. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so now I have the merchant SKU. This is what I do is I'll open up Amazon here. I'll click that and to open up Amazon so we can see right here. Here I am. I'm one of 6 sellers selling this thing. Okay, and I go down and I just make sure. Okay, cool. This is the right one. Okay, good. Then I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna click this edit button on the bottom. Okay. So then you're going to see a couple of different things. Here's the SKU, here's the name, weight, package quantity, quantity of the item for sale in one package. Now, you might be thinking, what is this? I don't understand. What is this? The cool thing is, this is what you can do is you can make multi-packs. Okay, say this was like a 3-pack. Say you wanted, everyone is selling a 1-pack. You can actually very quickly, boom, create a 3-pack. In fact, you can even say 3-pack Ray Marine, blah, 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 and raise the price 3 times or whatever. Okay, you would put that here. You would say package quantity is 3. So when someone buys this off of the listing, it goes and says, okay, someone bought, even if it says quantity 1 here, someone bought one of these, and that means that it's a 3-pack. Therefore, boom, 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 send 3 times send an email to the vendor saying 3 times this particular vendor SKU should be sent to this person, okay? So you can create these multi-packs, which is pretty dang cool, okay? No other software that I know is able to do that, at least at this particular time. The other thing, I'm going to leave it at 1 for now. The other thing is this a bundle? And if you click this, you can actually make this into a bundle of products. And I'll show you how we do that in a second. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to set it up the way it should be. Okay, and then I'll set it up in a way where you can see what the bundle is doing. So we have the vendor right here. Default vendor is not the right one. So we're going to change it to C-wide, okay? So we go down to C-wide. And so C-wide distributors is there. And now remember, this is the merchant SKU. This is the product SKU. We don't want that. We want to let the vendor know. Here's where we're telling the vendor what SKU it is that we want to order. Okay. If we sent them this, they would have no clue what we're talking about. Okay. They would have no clue what we're talking about. So we're going to paste that in right there. This is this right here is the vendor SKU. They're going to know exactly what that is, okay? If there's a flat rate shipping charge, we can put that in there. We see what the stock is. This stock, if we put 20, say if we put 20 here, because we can change the stock if we want to. If we put 20 here, we can actually add other vendors. Say there are other vendors that carry this item. We can actually add vendor number 1, vendor number 2, and vendor number 3, and each of them have a different stock. It will go down the line, and when this vendor runs out of stock, it'll go down to this vendor, and then it'll go down to this vendor. Okay, that's why you'll see things like, okay, well, what's this vendor's MSRP? What's this vendor's map? What's your cost to this? It will factor in all that stuff for you if you put that in here. I generally don't. I just go off of a Zapier Google sheet. Okay, so I'm gonna remove these vendors for now. So when you are adding and moving, adding a new product, you want to make sure that this vendor SKU, this merchant SKU, is not here. Okay. If there is no, this is something that you're going to run into. If there is no vendor SKU that you can find, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go up here, right here, and you're going to copy the title, and you can actually just paste that in there, okay? If you can't find a merchant SKU, okay? That happens every now and then. The vendor is going to know what that is, so don't worry about it. If you can't find it, just pop it in there, okay? If you pop in the title of what it is, and they'll figure it out. And sometimes what will happen is once you do that, they'll send you an invoice, and the invoice will have the SKU that they're using. Okay, then you can just take that and then edit this to match. Okay. All right. So next, I generally don't put in the MSRP, and I generally don't put in the map. I generally don't put in the cost. I don't expect you to do that because I just don't need you to do that. You can if you want to. I don't generally like doing it, and I don't need to because we use Zapier, so we can figure that out later. Okay. So this is how it would be set up in the right way right now. So I'm actually gonna update the product. I'm gonna update this product, and so now we see that the vendor is CY Distributors. Here's the SKU. It's the vendor SKU. I said stock quantity is 20. I forgot to change that back to 2. You'll see up here, remember, it says stock quantity is 20. Stock quantity in shopping cart is 2. This is what I have set in Amazon. Okay, so if we set that to 20, this is good. Amazon might say 0, but we might have 18 left. Okay, so you want to make sure that both of these are generally the same. All right, let's talk about bundles real quick, okay? If we're creating a bundle, if you're creating a bundle listing, this is how we do it. Say we have 2 different products, okay? What we're going to do is we go down here to add a vendor SKU, okay? And then we pick, again, the same vendor. We're going to pick the same vendor again, all right? So we're going to go down to CY distributors and say the SKU is SD184, and so when they buy this one thing on this listing, this one product SKU, what we're going to have them do is I want to send an email to the vendor for this SKU and this SKU at the exact same time, okay? One email having those 2 things being sent, okay? How am I going to do that? Well, remember, if we don't have this bundle checked, or if we don't have and if we're not doing a multi-pack, if we don't have this bundle checked, what happens? Well, if if we have it set up the way we do now, because this is just generally saying, okay, it's a one-to-one relationship with that listing over there. If someone buys, it's going to take from this one, or sorry, it's going to take from this vendor SKU first, and it's going to say, oh, okay, well, let's just use this one for now until this runs out to 0, okay? And then it'll move on to this one until this one runs out, and so on, and then it'll move on to the next and move on to the next. But basically, what we want it to do is we want it to, when someone orders, boom, buy off of this one, and boom, buy off of this one, okay? And the only way to do that is to click this, check this box that says, is this a bundle? When you do that, it will shoot off an email for all of these at the same time. This one, and if we wanted to add more, say it's a 6 bundle thing, it shoots off an email for all of those, and then it will remove the stock, the quantity for all of those as well, okay? Very, 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 very powerful. Generally, you're able to beat our competition by creating these bundles, okay? Very, 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 very powerful. But let's go back. That's how we create a bundle. I'm not going to create this into a bundle because obviously it's not a bundle. I need to change the stock quantity. I'll do that later. Okay, so now we see up here 59 unmapped products. Why did that happen? Well, that's because our vendor, CY Distributors, now has its very first product mapped to it, okay? You can see down here, we have our very first product mapped to it. So now anytime someone buys this particular product, it's going to send an email to our distributor for the vendor SKU that we gave it. So pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. All right. And if this were a bundle, it would be a bundle. But generally, that is how you are going to map these products. We'll do one more real quick. Okay. So let's go to View Unmapped Products. Scroll down to the latest products. It's all the way down. We click into the merchant SKU right here. Okay. I like clicking on this Amazon link thing. So I can see this thing right here. Cool. Looks good. Now we're going to do this edit. I'm going to click edit. We're going to scroll down. If this is not a bundle, don't worry about it being a bundle. If it's not a multi-pack, don't change this quantity. We're going to change the vendor. Where do we get to change it to? We're going to change it to CY Distributors, right? Now the SKU, I'm just going to use the title. Let's pretend that they didn't give us the SKU, okay? That we didn't have access to the SKU. I'm just going to use the title. and they'll figure it out, okay? Or they'll call me. Stock is to, we'll just leave it at that. Not going to mess with anything like this. Boom. Now we have our second product mapped. Boom. See where distributors, we have our second product maps. We're done. We never have to email, when someone orders now, we never have to email our vendor manually anymore. That's the cool thing about this is now we know that we will always be giving fulfillment emails in a timely manner and a very accurate manner without having to worry about this ever again. Okay, and nothing manual on our part when it comes to that. Very, very powerful stuff. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I hope you enjoy that, and it really does make our business scalable, and it makes our business makes your job a lot easier in the long run. Okay, all right, that's it for Spark Shipping.